You love Lena, they said. Don't hide your true feelings, they said. No, I will not admit defeat because a true man never admits his feelings for a woman he doesn't love. And I sure as hell don't love Lena. So this video will go on like any other. And if anyone shames me in the comments, I will shame them back. Shame! Now, let's talk about 86 episode 12. This episode featured the return of not only Lena, but her newest crew of soldiers, as during the last season, they were, air quotes, killed. Except the 86 weren't killed. Instead, it seems they were brought back to life somehow through the efforts of the Republic of Gilead, a country that took down the Gladian Empire and are now trying to eliminate the remnants of the Legion that they created. Their interim president, Ernest Zimmerman, I believe is how you pronounce it, is one of the newest characters introduced, and he seems to be harboring some sort of secret. Ernest is very mysterious though. We don't know his intentions, but since we know that Ernest is feeling somewhat guilty about using them as replacements, what is he using them as replacements for exactly? Could he be creating his new own family that he's looking for? Or is it something more sinister? Because as we know, Frederica is apparently the Empress. So being that she's the Empress of maybe the former Gladian Empire, maybe Ernest is using that as a way to create a new government around the Empress of Frederica and as well the remnants of the 86. If that is possible, maybe he's planning to use the 86 and as well Frederica to take over San Magnolia? Who knows? We don't know. I don't know. Though I have a theory about this, and my theory is that Ernest sees the potential of using the 86 as leverage as interim president. I do find it strange how, in such a short amount of time, Gilead was able to overtake the Gladian Empire and start to take out the remnants of Legion. Maybe San Magnolia is weaker in general to the Legion, but the first 11 episodes of this series focused on Legion absolutely wiping out the people of San Magnolia until nothing was left. So, I believe there is something more going on behind the scenes, and I bet it has to do with the founding of the Republic of Gilead. It seems they're already doing a lot for the 86, as before arriving at Ernest's house, they are shown a rally for the freeing of the 86. This is in stark contrast to how San Magnolia treated the 86, which is, well, of course, by not mentioning them like ever and telling their citizens a bunch of propaganda about them. Though it seems based on Ernest's behavior, the powers that be in Gilead may be using the 86 for something, and this may be a way to fool them. Ernest, in one scene, talks about treating the 86 like humans, but only because it is the so-called ideal of a human being to do so. Now, I'm not one to believe in lizard people, but if you do zoom in and enhance, Ichika is right there in the corner of his mouth. Though one of the more surprising introductions in this episode is another character, Frederica Rosenfort. Frederica seems to be in the care of Ernest, though reluctantly on both sides. It does as well seem like they are pitting Frederica against the 86's best interests and siding them with Ernest already. But if I were to guess, I'd believe that to be a red herring, and honestly, what's this soon little girl gonna do anyways? It's obvious that she is drawn to Shin as well, probably because of his red eyes, but as well the scar on his neck. Some verbal scolding from Ernest also suggests that these two may get along and form a close bond. Frederica, much like Shin, has her scars, and I think it's because of those scars that Frederica and Shin carry that Frederica will likely be more keen to open up to Shin and mature as a character. And that's what I'm very excited about with Frederica's character going forward, and I hope my theory is right because I got $20 riding on this bet. But we gotta save the best the best for last with Valdilina's perspective. It seems since the last episode, Lena has gone in a new direction, sporting a literal darker look and as well a red streak through the side of her hair. They're also calling her Bloody Regina, which is ironically what they called my ex-wife. Needless to say, she's going through her edgy phase, and to add to that, she's sporting a new attitude. The Lena of the past seemed more innocent and less mature to her world of being a handler for the 86, brazenly debating her people to defend the 86, the people that she put so much time and care into only for them to be seemingly defeated by the Legion. Because of this, she doesn't even refer to her new team by their names like she did the 86 prior. She refers to her right-hand woman as an example, Shiden Ida, love her VA by the way, she's great in this episode, as Cyclops. And when Shiden asks her to refer to her name, well, We see a brilliant panning shot to the container of drawings and names she did for the previous 86, and continues to call her by her codename. Though despite Lena being more mature and hardened, the girl still has that goofy and youthful energy to her. She hasn't completely changed. Being late to a meeting with Annette, she's still just like how we used to know her. And this is nice to see because moments prior to this, there is a very intense scene with the Lieutenant Colonel where Valdilena, like the baddest bitch she is, uses the context of her involvement to essentially get away with using mortars and the other things that she wasn't supposed to use in the previous episode. And it turns out that being called the greatest handler ever works more for Lena than it does for the Colonel, as with the lower number of Legion takedowns, it would look bad on someone as accomplished as him. Once again, good on this anime for showing the Colonel's awards rather than telling us. You love to see it. Though, more interesting, I think, Lena asks Annette about getting more synchronization devices. This is interesting, as what other reason would she need those? I'm not sure, but my theory is that Lena is going to use these as a secondary device so that she can take her team and go rogue and communicate off the grid. This is something I thought that they do with the original team, but it seems Lena has a plan to position herself as a direct foil to San Magnolia itself. It's just that there's one thing about this episode that I believe most people will not realize. What is Lena going to do when she finds out that Shin and the others are alive? What's the Federal Republic of Giad's role in this war? I think as viewers, we need to keep those two questions at the back of our minds for now, because these are two combustive elements in the story that are just waiting to blow. But while we wait for next week's episode of 86, consider becoming a patron or channel member to #support the SeaTactics. As well, check out the King of Anime podcast, where we'll be covering this episode live every week, every Monday. The newest episodes only on KOA. Bye-bye.